It's kind of weird to say, but you have to analyze your book of business and make sure that you actually have a profit margin with your clients, because some clients you don't. So if you've got a high touch client that is eating up most of your profit and some clients you don't, then you've got to readjust and make sure that wherever your highest profitability is, you're focusing your energy there.
Welcome, my name is Vishal Tekshalani, and today I have the pleasure of being joined by Chris Montgomery, the founder of highly successful LA-based digital marketing agency, Social Ordeals. Chris has gone from someone who was a solopreneur to a digital agency that now employs more than 30 people, serves thousands of local businesses across the US, UK, and Canada, and he generates 7 to 8 million in annual revenue per year. So he knows what he's doing, and we're going to get some insights from him on how he's overcome some of the challenges in his career as a digital agency owner. Chris, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Chris, tell us a little bit about your business and who you serve.
So, we're a full service digital agency, primarily, helping the small business. But, when we look at the small business, it's really location business. So we deal with a lot of multi-location businesses, and we look at each one of their individual locations as a local business. So we're primarily serving the local business where local search matters.
Okay, so very, very local focused. What's been the single biggest challenge for you in your career as a digital agency owner to get thousands of local businesses? That's what you've scaled. It's been a lot of hard work. What's been the hardest challenge, and how did you overcome it?
I think the hardest challenge is, training and getting employees and sales reps to understand what digital is. There's so many different facets of digital where you've got to be able to explain it in a way that your customer can understand it. So I think that's been our biggest challenge.
Okay, so how do you overcome something like that? It's like you've got to explain it to the staff and be able to break that down in plain English to the customer. What's your process or your strategy to overcome that?
Yeah, so we normally, any sales pitch that either myself, I still, get on the phone with clients or onboards, we have all new employees that have to attend so many of those before they're leashed out to be able to deal with clients. So, a lot of it's, in-person training, one-on-one training, but a lot of it comes from them understanding the sales process of what we're actually selling to the customer.
Okay. Every agency's owner, Chris, is to be able to scale, be able to build that repeatable, profitable, predictable sales process. You've got down to a T with the amount of revenue you're generating and the amount of staff you have. What tips would you give to, say, someone starting out, someone who's early in this game, about how they can do that?
Yeah, so once you get your first few clients, you got to really service them. You got to make sure that you're doing everything that you promised them that you would do, and you're keeping your word on that. I started this agency. I had a lot of customers that came on board that I had to work hard. And I tried every avenue to bring customers on board. But at the end of the day, I grew my business off referrals and doing the right thing by my customer, and making sure, and then give your customers incentives to bring their friends and families with businesses to the table. That would be the one piece of advice I'd give every single agency: take care of your customer.
Okay, incentivize and be consistent. I like that approach. So one of the other challenges that agencies face is, how do I get those customers? How do I get my first customer? How do I then build on that if they haven't had enough time with me to provide that referral yet? What would be your top tips there?
If you're an agency just starting out, you got to go and get boots on the ground. I'll tell you a quick story, and I still go out and sell quite a bit. But I recently went to this Mediterranean restaurant I found in the town that we're in. This is in the last couple of months. I ordered food there. I knew the guy that was doing making the food and doing all of that was the owner of the business. We got engaged in a conversation. He asked me, how'd you find us? I'm like, I barely found you, right? But you were the one that had the best reviews. We got into a conversation. 3 weeks later, he became a customer, and I'm still a customer of his. So if you're just starting out in the agency, get out there and talk to businesses, understand what their challenges are, and then offer them solutions. So I would stick to your local market to start, and then branch out into other types of marketing to bring clients in once you understand your core clientele.
Okay. Let's switch gears into profitability. We're in an environment where, and I guess it'll be different across different parts of the world, but people are worried about inflation, they're worried about recession, they're worried about rising costs, and we've seen that a lot through the inflation figures that have come through. Are you finding it a challenge to maintain your profit margins, and what tips can you give to maintain those healthy profit margins?
It is tough. We talked about this, on a weekly basis now. And I see businesses around me and services that we hire people for, they're increasing price. I still believe our pricing is competitive, and I don't want to change that yet. I'm not running scared on inflation, and I'm hoping it somewhat corrects itself. But at the end of the day, I'm really working internally with not having to go out and hire, top tiered staff and promote from within, which will allow me to slowly grow into a management salary than having to hire somebody to start out with a management salary.
Okay. And any other tips you can provide on just maintaining those healthy profit margins and anything within your actual service offering you do, or how you price things?
It's kind of weird to say, but you have to analyze your book of business and make sure that you actually have a profit margin with your clients, because some clients you don't. So if you've got a high touch client that is eating up most of your profit and some clients you don't, then you've got to readjust and make sure that wherever your highest profitability is, you're focusing your energy there.
Okay, if you don't mind, can I dig into that? When you readjust, is it about having that difficult conversation with a client who you've been potentially over-servicing?
100%. So, we had, an example, we had a client that had 100,000 followers on Facebook. And once a month, and the way our Facebook was set up with our business manager, once a month, we'd have to change our password on Facebook, which would have to allow us to go and reconnect all of our Facebooks and all this, on the platform. And that client, wasn't spending that much money with us. Sometimes you have to make that hard decision that clients want to fire you because they want to try something else out. You as an agency can't be scared to fire a client either.
Okay, that's a great tip. Thanks for that. Let's switch gears into the labor shortage. You talked about your current preference to promote staff from within, but even if you're replacing or looking to retain staff, it's a very competitive market out there. How are you managing those challenges for retention?
You're having to start off with a higher base pay for anybody that comes in. We've now had to add benefits into our company for employees to attract them that way and incentivize them however we can on vacation pay or medical and dental. And then obviously offering a higher pay. We also didn't want to outbid ourselves in the market and get scared like a lot of businesses were. And now we're starting to see in the States, at least, where all these companies were hiring people for double what their actual value of being an employee for them was. And now they're starting to let all those people go. And it's now flooding the market with, a lot more potential employees for the company.
Oh, that's an interesting trend. Okay. I want to touch on client onboarding. What would you say makes a great client onboarding experience? You've got that client, you've worked hard to get them. What is it that you do to ensure that right from the get-go, they've got their impeccable golden touch points with how they interact with you?
So we start off, first of all, as soon as a client has agreed to come on board with us, we have an entire onboarding process where they fill out a form, and really, we get really detailed. We let them fill it out as much as they possibly want to, or just fill out the basic things we have. But then we do a video conference on an onboard. We have a few account managers that are onboarding them and a few understudies. So if anybody ever leaves our company, we have somebody that still understands them as well. Have that conversation, build the account out after that onboard process, and then set up another meeting to take them in and actually train them on how to utilize the system.
Okay. You started your business in 2012?
Yes.
Over that time, what would you say are, one, two, maybe three things that you've learned about providing great customer service, about how to just meet their needs and keep them happy?
I think number one is, answer the phone and be very prompt when you get back to them. People are impatient today. So if you call up a company and they don't get back to you for 48 hours or 72 hours, you're kind of putting a bad taste in their mouth. Most of the time, during normal business hours, we get a phone call back to our client within 15 minutes. The other thing that we do is when we find strong things about the client, maybe a new review, or we see them ranking higher on a particular keyword, we reach out to those customers to inform them of that and let them know exactly what the process is going on. And then doing your follow-ups with the clients to make sure that they understand all their products and actually how it's helping the business. I tell a lot of people this. When we have clients that come to Social Ordeals or any agency, within their first 3 to 6 months, I've made up a name for them. I call them loosey-gooseys because they really don't know what's going on in the back end. All they know is maybe you're posting twice a week to their social media feeds and that's all they see. So you've got to engage with their customer and have a schedule of when you're going to call out to your customer. And now we've got the experience over the last 10 years of knowing when to reach out at certain points to fill them in on their status and where they're currently at.
Great tips, thank you. Last question from me. Let's focus on the thing we actually deliver for clients, which is digital marketing services. We've seen so many things evolve over the last 10 years. Your Facebooks, Instagrams, the move into social media, the interplay of search engines and digital ads and what have you. 2023 is around the corner. What's like the top digital marketing trend you see for the coming year?
Well, I think there's two. So I want to give you two,
Sure.
right? I think you got to pay attention to TikTok. I think TikTok's becoming not only that video channel, but it's also becoming a pretty powerful search engine. So I think you got to have your eyes set on that as a business. And then I also think on the other notion is that we're going to be primarily voice search. So you got to make sure that all of your descriptions and all of your keywords and everything that you're submitting to your listing providers and your website really define what you do and not just put bullet points, but go into deeper description, because once we go to voice, we know it's going to get very descriptive.
All right, Chris, thank you for those great insights and thank you for your time today.
No problem.
I hope you enjoyed that video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and have a great day.